Okay, wait, can y'all hear me? Am I not on the screen? Hold up, give me... Oh my god. This is so embarrassing. How did I manage to not even get my PNG on the screen? Okay, there I am. Hi, everybody. Back at it again with our OBS problems. 7th stream in a row or something. Oh my god. Oh man. Well, I hope y'all didn't miss me too much. Been gone for about a week. How's everybody doing? Feeling alright? Hopefully you are. I have like 3 streams this week or something. I'm excited for all of them though. But yeah, this one's gonna be, I think, the shortest of them, because the other 2 are extremely long ones, and they're MK related. This one's more of like a general one, so it's like, you know, it's a casual, like, fun little 1.5 hour stream or something. It's great getting jump scared by starting to music. Oh, of course. my music, like, blares sometimes. Like, I was in the waiting room because I was trying to fix something with one of my mods, and I forgot I had it up, so I hit go live, and I just hear poof, 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 like, immediately. That was great. But yeah, so I'm excited for this tier list today because I get to rant about my favorite thing, complaining about Mortal Kombat and complaining about other games too sometimes. I love doing these tier list videos because they're entertaining to me. It's kind of just like fun to go through different video games, get my takes on them without doing like full videos on them, because sometimes not every idea warrants a video, and these tier list ones are just too hard for me to edit because they're a lot of footage. So it's just more fun to live stream them, you know? But yeah, hopefully you guys could like hear me okay, because we've had everything from like mic issues to me not appearing on the screen today. Also, I got all my assets actually in order. All the images that you saw today are actually from one of my Patreon stories, which is my character lore. So if you guys want to subscribe at the $5 tier, you get that story now before I drop it in a few days. You get all my stories a month in advance, so y'all could roll up. If Mortal Kombat 11 is an F tier or lower, we'll get there. Alright, we might as well just like hop into the tier list, I guess. Alright. Make sure I have everything up here. I usually do these in Tier Maker, and Tier Maker gives me like 3 million ads that I have to awkwardly crop around. Alright, here we go. Okay, how's it look? Hopefully we got it. I'll go through our tiers because we have 6 this time instead of 5 because I felt like it was required for some of these. Oh man. We have, I think, 32 games to go through, and I'll kind of explain my process of picking all these, because there's a lot more MK than Tekken and Street Fighter, and I'll explain why. But yeah, so we have our 32 options here and our 6 tiers. Hopefully we don't have to, like, have any bleed over into second rows. Alright, so let's go through the tiers first, and then I'll explain the order. So we have industry standard. These are the games where it's like, they were pivotal, they were necessary, like, they are the games you show somebody when you say, I play fighting games. These are, like, the ones, you know? So then we have serving. They're not quite industry standard, but, like, casuals like them, competitive players like them. You know, it's a little something for everyone, but it's not quite, like, the slay of the year, you know? Mixed results, this is going to be, like, the more mid-tier games. Like, there's good, there's bad, there's meh, and there's, like, different things they could have done better or were just right. Delulu is not the Salulu, so this one is... It's maybe too influenced by nostalgia. Maybe there's some problems with it that are, like, really glaring that hinder the experience. And then at the bottom we have Burn It, which is, you know, set it on fire, throw it in a landfill, get rid of it immediately. Why did this happen? And then we have Beyond Human Comprehension. This is camp. This is the so bad it's brilliant. Obviously it is not industry standard. It is horrific. But it's such a level of bad that it has to be mentioned. Someone had to say something. So those are our 6 tiers that we have to go through here. And the way I ordered these was I tried to order them by release date for all 3. So you'll notice there's, like, Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, and then Tekken, Tekken 2, like, and so on and so forth. I tried to order these as best as I could by release date. I think some of them, like, towards the 2000s, got a little murky. But I think the years are correct. The 5th tier should just be Tekken 6. Oh, you're not gonna like what I have to say about Tekken. We'll get there, we'll get there. So, the big thing is just I tried to order these by release date best I could so I can kind of talk through my thoughts, like, easier. I will warn, there are some of these that I have not played, and I will say which ones I have not played and only had viewing of. But I've played a good majority of these. And then, as far as, like, Tekken and Mortal Kombat is concerned specifically, and Street Fighter 2, because there's a lot of these. But, crossovers, there's only one that I actually put in here, and that's MK versus DC, because MK versus DC is considered an somewhat actually canon. We're not too sure on that. And the other spin-offs that I put in here were, like, the Mortal Kombat story games and the Tekken tag series, because they are, like, major games to the franchise. But, like, a lot of the Street Fighter crossovers I didn't put in here. Street Fighter X Tekken I was debating, but I didn't put in here because Tekken does not recognize it as an actually canon game. So that's kind of what we're working off of, and I wanted each of the games to be distinct enough from each other. So that's kind of the criteria for the 32 that we have here. So let's get to ranking these. So we had to go back to, I think, the late 80s to start this. So we have Street Fighter 1. It's gonna go in mixed results, because by today's standard, this would be dragged through the mud. And, like, for the time, it was amazing, and it was the first real, like, 2.5D-esque fighting game that we had ever seen. And Ryu and Ken did their job and did it well. There's not a lot of characters that would see their return in later games. Like, there's some that were just one and done. Some of them would later be fully fleshed out, which we appreciate. And the low roster options obviously kind of hinder it, considering the other games that would come out after it. And even its own sequel would do numbers. So I think mixed results kind of suits it, because it's like, we get what you did, you had a purpose and you served it, but no one is trying this. Because what they are playing is Street Fighter 2, industry standard. There is not a 90s fighting game that I think tops Street Fighter 2. Because Street Fighter 2 really showed what the genre was supposed to be. All the characters still have good staying power. The graphics for the time were really good. roster was diverse. Like, we had Blanca, we had Cammy, we had Bison, we had Ryu, we had all these different characters that for the time were really, really diverse. And, there was actually, like, decent, like, distribution of characters. And I want to say there was 12. I could be wrong. I think there was 12 characters. Because I played the turbo version of Street Fighter 2 and really enjoyed it. Vega was my favorite, but yeah. So there was a decent amount of characters for the time. I never played Street Fighter 1. I don't think many people actually have. Like, it's not something that people seek out because Street Fighter 2 is, like, such a standard, I never saw any of your streams before. Welcome in. 2 was my jam as a kid. Oh, for sure. I think the game came out 14 years before I was born. Sorry if I make some people sound old, because there was someone I was chatting with, they might have been on stream, it might have been Twitter or Reddit, one of the two, but I said that Mortal Kombat Armageddon came out, like, the year after I was born, and they're like, I was playing that in my teenage years, please stop making me feel old. I felt kind of bad. I was like, sorry, man. Okay, so Mortal Kombat 1, the actual first one. So, like, the OG MK. We'll get to the MK1 as a name later. So, this is gonna go... I'm gonna put it in mixed results, because, again, it served a purpose. It did what it had to do. But also, Mortal Kombat 1992, that's what we'll go with, was unbelievably controversial. Like, this game is the reason the ESRB exists, so it got itself in a lot of mess pretty fast, and Street Fighter was kind of just loved, so a lot of people steered away from MK at first, but then it became extremely popular because people were drawn to it. But I think the other 90s MK games just did so much better, but for the time, it did what it had to do. But also Street Fighter did it so much better. So I'll put it in mixed results. I played 1 before and it was weird. Yeah, it's very different because I feel like everybody just remembers Street Fighter 2. So when you play the first one, it's like, what? SF2, MK2, and Tekken 2 were my go-to fighter games for so long. We'll get to Tekken 2. I have some takes. MK1 was the reason the games finally got a rating. Yeah, like, this game was truly controversial. Like, man... Okay, Mortal Kombat 2. I'm gonna put it in serving because it started to establish a lot of what the franchise was. Because original MK1, it was mostly shock value. MK2 gave a lot of groundwork. So, like, I remember I was like 9 or 10 when I played MK2, which I think was like 30 years after it came out. And even then, like, I was an avid MK9 and MKX player at the time. And I still was like really, really entertained with this. More so than MK3, because MK2, it had a lot of stuff going for it. Katana, Melina, Baraka, Kung Lao, like, all these amazing characters that would later become staples. Whereas I feel like the OG7 fell out of favor, especially in recent times, so this roster does kind of serve better nowadays. So yeah, I would put it in serving. Mortal Kombat 3, I'm gonna... I'll say mixed results, and the reason I say that is because MK3 had a lot of, like, choicey roster decisions. Can't talk decisions. But, like, Scorpion wasn't there originally. That was wild. Like, that has never happened again. Like, it was that wild. But the game had a lot of newcomers, many of which would later, like, never return. Or if they did, it was sparing. Like, Motaro was in this game. But then we also got some amazing characters like Sindel in there. And we got Jade finally. Like, there was a lot of good about it. I just don't think it did better than MK2. But I think it was better than the original MK still. But I think I would put it in the same tier. Alright. So Tekken 1. I'm gonna put it... I'll put it in serving. Because I think Tekken was really the first to do 3D graphics. Which immediately put it on the map. Like, for the time, it was groundbreaking. Like, it was some good stuff. And, like, I personally don't like the older Tekken games, but I can acknowledge the serve that was the original Tekken. And it came out around the time that, like, 8-bit and 16-bit games were far more prevalent. I think all of these are 16-bit. I'm not versed on like pixel stuff, so if any of you guys know that terminology, that'd be great. But yeah, I can acknowledge a serve when I see one. Tekken 2, I want to put it in Burn It because I hate it so much. I'll put it in Delulu is not the Solulu because I don't think it's the worst. Like, it's pretty bad though. Because Tekken 2, it built on the first one, but somehow the polygons felt like they got lower. This game is unbelievably ugly. Like, it is hard to look at. Like, Tekken 1, you can look at it and be like, there's some visual jank and it's aged. This is bad. Like, the cover art is terrifying. I was looking this up and I was like, nah, right? Like, it's hard to look at. Like, MK4 has some questionable graphics. This is far worse. And, like, I don't know. Tekken 1, there's a lot to go off of. Tekken 2, I disagree. Like, it's not for me. MK Trilogy, I'm gonna put it in, serving. I want to put it in industry standard, because then MK gets really bad. I'll put it in industry standard, because I think this took everything, like, the amalgamation of the work that the first 3 games did, and it put it together in a happy little package that really felt good. It was a large roster. I think it was like 30-something characters, if I remember correctly. Like, I think everybody was there, and all the characters felt unique. Some of the stuff was reused, but, like, some characters looked new, and, you know, it was really good, and it feels like the MK game to play from the 90s for me. Like, along with Mortal Kombat 2, but I feel like Trilogy just did it so much better. I played it on the 64 when I was, like, 11 or 12, and I still really liked it. Like, even now, I still find it pretty entertaining. Tekken 3, industry standard, because I don't think there was a Tekken game that topped 3 until, like, 2 decades later. Like, it was wild. Trilogy was so good. Yeah, exactly. It was really nice. So Tekken 3, there's a lot, because Tekken 3 was the last time I think they ever had, like, non-walled, combat, if I'm correct on that. Or was it 4? It was one of the 2. But, I would say, like, Tekken 3 was a really, really good game. It was visually a lot better than Tekken 2, for sure. Like, Tekken 2 is, Tekken 3 is eye candy in comparison to Tekken 2, which is Bleach. There is no topping Tekken 3. We'll get there. But, like, I really, really enjoy this. It's not, like, Trilogy level for me, but it's better than everything that's in serving. So I think industry standard is correct. Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero, burn it. Burn it immediately. This should have never happened. This was a mistake. This should have never happened, and I'm glad no one remembers it. Like, Midway was so lazy for this. Like, it was so bad. It was not an MK game. And then we had to wait for MK4 for, like, ever. And, like, this is what we got. Like, it was, no. Burn it with fire. Mortal Kombat 4. Okay. Burn the myth, burn it. Yes, exactly. Okay. So the problem with Mortal Kombat 4 is I feel like I could go in, like, any of these. Because MK4 gave us a lot of amazing characters, but it was also it has to go in mixed results, I feel like. Because the thing with MK4 is it gave us a lot of new characters that would later become staples. Like, it gave us Quan Chi, it gave us Fujin. Great. It also gave us characters like Kai and Jarek that did absolutely nothing. It was giving very much go girl, give us nothing. There was nothing happening there. So it's both good and bad because it's like the roster of the 3D era was actually starting to get good, but also Tekken 3 kind of showed how good 3D era games could actually be. Most of the Tekken games did, honestly. But then MK4 was just not up there. I think if it got remastered, I think a lot of people would like it more, but I don't know. Like, it was bad. MK4 had the Jarek ending where he unalived himself. Yeah, I don't know what was up with the voice acting in that game as well. Like, part of me wants to put MK4 in Beyond Human Comprehension because it was so camp. Do we do it? I think we should. MK4 is beyond human comprehension. Cause, like, oh man. There was so much comedy. It was kind of funny. Okay, so Street Fighter 3. I really like this. It's not Street Fighter 2, though. I think, because, like, okay, it gave us a lot of really cool characters that I think we can agree were pretty good. But also, like, it's not Street Fighter 2, and they had such big shoes to fill. So I'm between serving and mixed results, because also, like, the franchise had to be rebooted in Street Fighter 4 because, like, this game wasn't always the greatest. So I'll put it, yeah, mixed results feels correct. Like, it wasn't great, but, like, it's also not bad. Like, it's not the worst, because we'll get to the worst with Street Fighter. We have yet to get there. Oh, man, we'll talk about it once we're there. All right. So, Tekken Tag. Tekken Tag is weird because, like, the game following it, I have to preface with, I have never played the original Tekken Tag. I played the second one. I have never played the first one. It's good. Like, it's not, from what I've seen, it's fine, and it gave us really interesting mechanics. There were just other tag games that I felt like did it better. So I think it's not Delulu is not the Salulu, because I don't think it's the worst. Like, especially because we have Tekken 4 around the corner. I would say mixed results. I think that's justified, you know? Okay. I really have to fill my water and use the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Let me go ahead and flash my new fancy BRB screen. Okay, we are so back. Alright, so next one we have to talk about is Special Forces. Ugh, gross. Okay. I don't think I have to say anything. Like, we can just put it in Burn It, and it's fine, right? Like, we don't have to say anything else. We could just say Burn It, and leave it there. Tekken 4. So, yeah, burn it. Yes, exactly. Okay, Tekken 4. I do not like this game. I don't think it's Burn It levels. I think it's Delulu is not the Salulu. Tekken 4 was the first time we had actual walls, which is nice, because, it established, like, modern Tekken fighting as we know it now. It was like the first full rendition of it. The thing I don't like about Tekken 4 is A, the meta, B, it doesn't look the greatest, especially because Tekken 5 did look a lot better, and I don't know, there's something about it that's just, it's not quite hitting, because Tekken 3's big shoes to fill, similar to how Street Fighter 2 had big shoes to fill with Street Fighter 3, but Tekken 4 just feels like a noticeable downgrade. Like, it was bad. Tekken 6 was the first with wall break. I thought Tekken 4 was the first one with, like, actual walls, and then Tekken 6 was the first where you could actually break it. Am I wrong? Yeah, I might be wrong there. Let's do some research. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff for which Tekken game had walls first? Like, what else am I supposed to type? Wall break is a stage gimmick first introduced in Tekken 6. But then Tekken 4 had walls first. Okay. Okay, so Tekken 6 was the first time wall breaks were a thing, if that makes sense. But then Tekken 4 was the first one to actually have walled stages. Like, I think the first 3 games, though there wasn't walls, the stages were infinite. Okay. But yeah, I would say Delulu is not the Solulu. Like, it's not quite there. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Burn it. I do not like this game. I think to best illustrate Mortal Kombat versus Deadly Alliance, let's look at the roster. Let's look at the roster for Deadly Alliance to illustrate how bad it is. Alright, here we go. Welcome to the roster screen from hell. Ooh. Like, my voice died for a minute. Is this the actual one? I thought there were 24. Not 21. Am I just, like, fully miscounting? Is that what's happening here? Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is 21. I thought it was 24 for some reason. Maybe that... I think that's deception. Okay. So here's what we're working with. We have... Zoom in. Can we move this over? Like, y'all can't even see this. At least I'm pretty sure. Okay. So, here is the Deadly Alliance, yeah, here's the Deadly Alliance roster. Like, just to illustrate how bad this is, we have Shang Tsung, who is actually good. We have Quan Chi, decent choice, especially for the 3D era. Bo Rai Cho, but why? But why? Alright, so then we have, let's see, we got Sonya, good choice. Scorpion, good choice. Movado, which was questionable. Johnny Cage, which we appreciate. Kenshi, which is also a good choice. Oh my god, who was this? Is this Lee May? I think this is Lee May. Good choice overall. Alright, so then we got, let's see. We have Kano. I need a higher res image. I'm sorry, y'all. This is hard. Here we go. Yeah, so we have Lee May. Good choice. So, like, this top half, these two are not good. Then we have Sub-Zero. Good choice, but looks questionable. And then we have Kano Draman, who never really did much. Although I do appreciate him. I like the new bow in MK1. What did he look like in MK1? I didn't see him. Okay, so then we had Nitara, who is always a slay. And then we had Frost, who is decent. Then Jax, who has always been kind of meh. That cursed rendition of Reptile. Raiden, who also didn't look great. Cyrax, who was fine. Suhao. Oh my god, who is this? Oh my god, who is this? I'm blanking. I'm blanking on who this is. Is this Kai? No. forgettable. And then we have Katana. There are a lot of key characters missing. There are a lot who should never see the light of day again. Like, it was very no, you know? Like, it was not good. So I think we could say burn it. Also, the story of Deadly Alliance was just kind of weird. That's Kung Lao. That's Kung Lao? Really? Damn. Wow, okay. Caught me slipping, I suppose. Oh my god. Oh, Madame Bo. Is that... Imagine Madame Bo is actually just Bo Raicho's replacement. I wish, honestly. Like, MKX tried to bring him back, and he had some funny lines. But, like, no. Bo Rai, no. Alright, so, Deception. Mixed results, because Deception definitely had some choices on the roster. Like, they weren't great. And I think it boils down to Deadly Alliance and Deception having half newcomers, half, established characters. And the problem is, a lot of the characters that have established relationships with other characters were just not there. And that makes for a very bad game sometimes, because then you don't have plot. Deception gave us Conquest Mode, which I appreciate, but it also gave us some kind of bad characters, like Mocap was in this game. Like, anyone calling for a Deception remake, remember Mocap was in this game. Just sit with that, you know? And remember it. I like Shujinko in a story in Deception. I like Shujinko. I didn't like that they made him the main protagonist. I think he could have been a side character or had a B-plot and been fine. Shaolin Monks. Delulu is not the Salulu, because I understand, like, Mocap is Deadly Alliance, not Deception. Hang on, can we get Google? Because I blend these games together very often. Like, it's not even funny. Like, these two games both are not that good to me. Deadly Alliance. So what roster were we looking at? Was he, Hang on. Am I just, like, fully wrong right now? Is that what's happening here? Give me 1 second. No, because this roster was right. But Mocap was in this game. Am I going insane? What's going on? Like, every roster I'm seeing does not... Oh. Oh, he's right there. Oh. MK versus MK Deadly Alliance is underrated. No, it's not. Yeah, I guess I just, like, fully missed him. Wait, so what was the Deception roster? Because maybe we'll move it up. We will move it up if the roster is actually not that bad. Mocap and Blaze are secret characters in MKDA. Of course, I feel like that's more of a reason to put Deadly Alliance lower, honestly, because Mocap is in that fucking game. Okay, so we got... who are we working with? I know Melina's in here, and her Deception outfit's actually kind of iconic. Bo Raicho is back, which is already a crime. Yeah, no, this roster's pretty solid. I don't like that Liu Kang was a zombie in this game, first of all. Let's start there. And then we have... Let me see. We have Smoke, which is nice. But, like, Darius was forgettable. Kira and Cobra went absolutely nowhere. So that's a problem. And then we have, like, a lot of characters missing. Like, I don't think... Was Katana in this one? No, right? Like, Katana's missing, which is, like, a problem. And there's not enough characters that should have been here. Like, the relations between characters are all the way off because of this. But yeah, we got, like, some newcomers like Havoc, and we got Ashra. But for a long time, like, none of these characters were seen because they were seen as, like, not salvageable. So I think it's more, like... I think it's more that the lasting power of Deception is, like, non-existent. So we will leave it there. That's because I think that's a good place for it. Mixed results feels correct. But then, yeah, so looking at Shaolin Monks, that's the one we're on. I understand what they were trying to do with Shaolin Monks, and I don't think it's the worst. I think in the context of Mortal Kombat, it's not the greatest. Like, it did kind of salvage MK, because it was in a rough state. But looking back, I don't know. It's not for me. Maybe y'all have different opinions. Like, maybe. I don't know. It's not for me. Katana died to the Deadly Alliance and was died by Onaga as his mind-controlled thrall. Okay, that makes more sense. It's been like a fucking second since I've seen Deception. Or Deadly Alliance, for that matter. I just know I did not like them. Okay, Tekken 5. Tekken 5 is gonna go in serving because it gave us some awesome newcomers like Raven. And I think it vastly improved on the graphics, for sure. It was a lot better than Tekken 4, in my opinion. Like, with visual presentation, it improved on the combat. I think it was really solid, you know? Like, she's really good, you know? If we had the she's really good tier right now, I think she would go there. I despise Shaolin monks. Oh, me too. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. Mortal Kombat Armageddon is gonna go... It could go in either one. Either Delulu is not the Salulu or Burn It. I would say Delulu is not the Salulu because some of the gimmicks were really interesting, like having every Mortal Kombat fighter in there. That's kind of cool. I think the story was actually, like, kind of interesting, honestly, having every Mortal Kombat character fighting. I think it was done better in MK1, obviously, but, like, you know, it was really good. But, the problem is that the game obviously felt rushed and never was made in mind with 60-something characters to be developed. This game should have never had that many characters, and it shows. Because the fatality system alone showed that this game was not supposed to have 60-something characters, or was not equipped to. Like, it's so obvious. And I don't even think, like, all the characters were that unique in that game. Like, it's really not a serve. I feel like the most it did was give updated character stills for the Mortal Kombat wiki, honestly. Like, it's kind of sad. Because it could have been really cool. The problem is, it's like, you would have to scale back MK so far to make 63 characters work. I think it was 63. But it was truly something. But it was a lot of gimmicks and not a lot of follow-through. So I think Delulu is not the Salulu feels appropriate. Tekken 6. I'm gonna put 6 because I know what follows it next. I think it has to go in serving. Am I wrong? I don't know. It's been a while since I've tried Tekken 6. But, I think it's really good. It had really good characters. Like, this was the last time we saw Christy, y'all. Like, it's been a minute since some of these characters are there. But, like, I did really like a lot of the characters. I thought the designs were pretty solid. I think the combat was really good. The wall break mechanic was really good. Now that we appropriately know what's in Tekken 6, don't worry about it. Like, I don't know. It's a pretty solid, like, nostalgia play for me, you know? Like, it's a good one. It's a good one to play when I'm like, man, I miss the Xbox 360 that I was playing when I was 4. Nope, Xbox 360 is Mortal Kombat. I sound so silly. But, like, I miss that gen of consoles. Let me play Tekken. You know, like, it's a good nostalgia sort of feel. Because, especially with Tekken, like, nostalgia feels are, like, 20 years in the past. Whereas MK, it's like you go back, like, maybe it had, like, you go back 4 years and you have a nostalgia play for MK. Tekken, you're going back, like, actual decades. It's so wild. So it's kind of nice. But yeah. So I think serving is okay, you know? Because it's definitely not industry standard. But I don't think it's as bad as any of these, you know? Like, I think it's above the rest. Imagine somebody, like, pops in the stream right now and just sees the tier list, like, and they haven't heard me talk through any of my thoughts. What's the reaction? Tekken 6 said Lars. I don't hate Lars that much. I don't know. He's not great, but, like, I don't know. He's not the worst. Maybe I need to go back and play Tekken 6. Like, maybe that's it. Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. Beyond human comprehension. I have a part 1 up. Part 2 is maybe in the works. I don't fucking know. I have the whole script. I just have to record it. It's just a long-ass video. This game is so high camp, and you can tell that the entire editing room had to be zooted They were zooted or gave absolutely no fucks. And I don't know which one it was. Maybe it was both. Like, it's so amazing. I love it. I love it with a burning hatred. It's amazing. It still hurts me that this is considered partly canon. Oh, me too. Don't worry, because I'm like, none of this should be canon. They were calling things boom tubes. Boom tube is an actual term that you need to know for MK versus DC. Like, it's amazing. I love it. Okay, Street Fighter 4. It was the reboot that was needed, you know? Serving, I think, is a good tier because, you know, it had a lot of really great characters in it, I think. Sea Viper comes to mind, Poison later. Like, lots of really good characters. I think the graphics age better than other games, I feel like. I think that the gameplay is pretty solid. It's not industry standard because that's, like, the absolute top tier, you know? But Street Fighter 4 was really good, especially for, like, I'm mainly an Xbox player. So Street Fighter 4 was the last game we got until Street Fighter 6, because we will talk about Street Fighter 5. Burn it, Seth. Yeah, no, Seth isn't great, but, like, the rest of it's pretty good. Okay, Mortal Kombat 9. Industry standard and no one talks about it. Well, okay, that's a lie. Everybody talks about it a little too much. There's another game that I'm making a video on, Killer Instinct, that was actually truly the industry standard that I will be talking about much more when we get to it, and the fact that it needs to return. But MK9 was kind of the standard for, like, a decade. Like, this was the game to be like. It had nostalgic characters. It didn't have good story, and I reviewed the whole thing on this channel, but, you know, it had, like, reboot vibes, and everybody was, like, fine with that. It had, like, some of the best aged gameplay that I feel like only MK1 has really fully recaptured, because MKX had a lot of elements of it while still keeping it unique, and we'll get to MKX. But this was really good, and I think it aged really well. I think the characters, the gameplay, it never gets old. The meta was always weird. Dog moment. But, you know, like, I think it's really good. She's very good. And I don't think many really come close to MK9, like, ever. Okay. Tekken Tag 2, Serving. It was better than the original. I think it definitely improved. It had, like, a lot of really good things about it. Roster was pretty solid. I forget how many characters it had, but having a large roster for tag games is always important. Looking at you, Skullgirls. But, let's see. Tekken Tag 2 roster. Let's not sound silly, because I'm nervous that I will. Alex is always, like, a camp choice for the roster, honestly. Like, some of them were kind of questionable, but it was like, where else are you really going to see them? Because they're never bringing them back for, like, mainline entries. But, like, Tekken Tag was always the one where they could kind of, like, fuck around and get away with it. So, you know, there was some fun little quirks about this game that didn't take itself too seriously. This version of Ganryu haunts my nightmares, by the way. Tekken 7 did him justice, and we'll talk about Tekken 7. But, you know, like, there was a lot of really good parts about this. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, it had 44 and was updated to 59. Like, it was really, really good. It came out swinging. But I don't think it's, like, industry standard, you know? But what is MKX? MKX is industry standard, and I don't think we talk about that, like, ever, because MK9 was that good. But Mortal Kombat 10, in retrospect, was a really good game that I think wasn't appreciated because of its roster. And I think the roster actually did age kind of good, aside from, like, a couple characters. But, like, Cassie became a staple, and, like, I was a big Cassie fan. Aaron Black was my main when I first started playing this. Like, the new characters were really, really good, but they weren't always given their flowers because they took away from a lot of the older spotlights. This is where we first start to see, like, guest characters take over DLC to an alarming degree, which I have a video in the work about that. Because, like, the DLC characters for MK are getting absolutely out of hand. Quick question, when MK2 Sonya arrived in MK11, why was she... Anyway, so, MKX was a serve. It just didn't get appreciated as one until very recently. And especially after MK11, I think everybody went back and was like, okay, maybe this isn't that bad. And I do appreciate that. The whole, like, PS3, Xbox 360 nonsense, if we put that aside, this is, like, an industry standard game that I think people will remember fondly. And, like, the fatalities in this are, like, some of the best we've ever seen. And it started to bring back 3D era characters that I think everybody really wanted and understood, like Kenshi. But they were also taking a lot of risks, like Bo Raicho. And, you know, it was something. Give me one sec, y'all. I just have to check something. Okay, so we're almost done. Like, we've gotten pretty far in this. So next we have Tekken 7, industry standard. First game that I think ever actually did, like, the Tekken franchise justice after Tekken 3. And I already know that's gonna be a hot take. But, like, I love this game. Like, massive roster. It was, like, every character felt unique, had massive movesets, lots to learn, lots to grasp onto. Rage arts could have been better. But, you know, Tekken 8's looking to fix that. The DLC always felt hype. Adding new characters always felt correct. The revamps on characters like Ganryu, oh my god. Ganryu won the Glow Up of the Decade award. It was incredible. Like, who was doing it like Tekken 7 was? Certainly not Street Fighter 5, which we'll talk about. Okay, Doggo has entered. Okay, so I've sung my praises for Tekken 7. Love the game, amazing. Play it constantly. Street Fighter 5. Oh my god. I hate this. I do not like this game. Okay, that's a lie. I like the game. Everything surrounding it is bad. It's going in burn it. Street Fighter 5 becoming a PS5 exclusive, mistake. Or not PS5, PS4. Mistake. Like, instantly. Every other Street Fighter game was going on Xbox until they pulled it to be a PlayStation exclusive. The esports stuff was weird, but I think it kind of worked in retrospect. I don't know. Like, Street Fighter 6 is doing it much better. Like, we'll say that. And the game launched in a really, really bad state. 16 characters for Street Fighter was, like, not good, especially with the hype it built. But then, like, over time, it got better and better and better. But I feel like MKX and Tekken 7 were its contemporaries, and they launched in a lot better states than Street Fighter 5 did. So it was kind of like, what was the point, you know? Like, it was good for diehards, but for who else? No one. Like, eventually, I think it turned itself around over time, but it took years. So I think, because, like, on launch it was bad. I don't know, because it's not Deadly Alliance. It'll go into Lulu is not the Salulu, because I think it started really bad and then it was fine. But Street Fighter 5, it wasn't quite there. And also the fact that it was like 8 years after its original and it still was not up to par. Like, I don't know. It's not quite there. Mortal Kombat 11. Mixed results, because they took a lot of risks, and I think some of them paid off and some of them absolutely did not. Aftermath, like, as a story expansion DLC concept, really interesting. I liked that. The story was bad. Like, it was a great concept, like, adding on to the previously established story. That's a good thing, because it builds off of the writing, it builds off of the culture, and we love that. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. But yeah, lots of risks. Some of them paid off, some of them didn't. The guests were getting... I think this is the first time the guests were, like, actively against from the fandom. Like, I don't know. I think opposed is the right word. Nobody wanted 5 guests in a game with 30-something characters. No one wanted that. MK1 is supposed to be worse. I haven't talked about the leaks yet. It's supposed to be a lot worse than Mortal Kombat 11's guest roster was. But if I say them, I feel like people are going to be really pissed off. So we're just going to hope that it's wrong. Because everything surrounding it sounds great. The guests sound awful. Like, I don't want them. Yeah, it's simply not the vibe, you know? But other things, like the main story, I think was mostly fine. Introducing a new villain, huge risk, but I think it kind of worked. Especially with MK1, I think Garrus eventually got his flowers. So it set up a lot of good stuff. It just wasn't always followed through. And I think this was the best, like, single-player experience we got. I do really like that. Because we got, like, what? We got Towers of Time, we got the Crypt, we got the story expansion, we got, I think it was, what, like 12 new characters in the span of, like, 18 months, which is pretty good. But then it flatlined. Like, it went completely cold. And they just weren't able to keep up with that. So, you know, I think mixed results, I think that's warranted for this game. Street Fighter 6, industry standard. Like, after Street Fighter 5 especially, this did it. This brought it back. Like, this was Street Fighter 4 times 20. Like, it revitalized it to such a degree. And it was wild. Like, Street Fighter 6's World Tour is not that good, and I stand by that. It's not great. But in comparison to Street Fighter 5, it was immaculate. It was amazing. It was the best shit we've ever seen. And, like, the way they were able to improve and adapt, and the way, like, characters like GJ came back fully glowed up. We got 6 new characters at the gate. We got, like, Aki coming on the roster. We had Rashid return, like, in the DLC, building up hype that stayed consistent with a constant competitive scene, even for such a new game. That is impressive. Like, it did everything right out the gate that Street Fighter V wished it could. And that, like, industry standard off of that alone, like, it's amazing. Mortal Kombat 1. Serving, and I'm so tired of everyone saying otherwise, I'm sorry. Mortal Kombat Twitter has this thing where, I don't know, what's the opposite of recency bias? Like, here's the thing. Mortal Kombat 1 is good. It has a lot of quality of life problems. Like, you can't pin moves, which is wild. Like, that was so useful in MK11. Like, the game, it has, like, shorter bursts of content now, which I think is going to be better in the long run, but it has a lot of people kind of mad. The 24th character nonsense was wild. But yeah, like, it had a lot going for it, and I think it followed up on a lot. The movesets, really clean, really crisp, best effects we've ever seen in a Mortal Kombat game. I would say the gameplay is back to, like, MK9 levels of amazing. Like, MK11 felt kind of floaty at times. Like, it felt like too much needed to happen, but too little was actually, like, being put in, you know, when it came to, like, inputs and stuff. MK1 feels totally different, like, and it has me maining characters I would have never thought to try. Baraka is my main, y'all. Like, never in a million years would I think I would come on my YouTube channel at youtube.com and say Baraka is my main in Mortal Kombat 1. I wouldn't say that normally, because I thought it was going to be Melina or Sindel. It's Baraka. Like, that's so iconic to be able to change up characters like that. It's so amazing, and this is one of the most diverse rosters we've ever had, where it felt like everyone was useful in some degree. Like, it felt great, and everybody has something they love about every character, which I love. The problem is, Mortal Kombat, like, here's the thing, the fandom is just, it has, like, an opposite of recency bias, where it's like, they don't get a game and praise it to the sun. They take the game and tear it all the way to the ground and say the last one was better. It has happened ever since MK versus DC. Like, every single time, without fail. Like, MK9 was way too fast, and no one could keep up with it. MKX had too many new characters, and we want MK9 back. MK11 doesn't have enough new stuff, and it's all sci-fi and variation-based and cosmetics, and we don't want that. Oh, but MK1 is too fast again, and MK11 was better for a casual experience. Like, stop lying. Like, just because they change things up in a game doesn't mean it's bad. Like, I saw something there. I mean, Twitter clowns will be Twitter clowns. Let me actually find it. I'm feeling a little petty today. On Twitter.com, which already a terrible, like a terrible place to be. But on my Twitter.com, I posted a response to another person who was saying, quote, I find it really uncomfortable that Mortal Kombat is becoming a professional/competitive fighting game rather than appealing to the casual players such as myself. It takes away from the fun, even the nostalgic feel when you grind to master gameplay and combos, in my opinion. And I said, no, Mortal Kombat is very much for casual still. Invasions exist. Story is extremely long. The story is 5 hours and we're gonna have to break that into 3 parts. I'm so sorry, y'all. Like, story is extremely long. There's practice and training modes, towers, seasonal shops, etc. Just because you have to put effort in the game, it's all of a sudden not appealing to casuals? Like, I'm sorry, y'all. Games usually have to be competitive to maintain their lifespan. That's how it goes now. Or they have to do, like, massive content updates, which Mortal Kombat is doing both of. And people are floored. Like, what? Like, I'm gonna make a scripted video about it, honestly, because it's something that has happened for years. And MKX only recently started getting love because MK11 was perceived as bad, and because MK1 was apparently not up to snuff of its previous titles when it absolutely is. Like, I don't know. There's something in the air with this fandom. Oh, man. MK1 did it, Baraka and Reptile, the world of good. Oh, they absolutely did, and it made me so happy. You have no idea. Especially after seeing MK9's story live on the channel, I was like, oh man, thank God they fixed that. No longer jobbers to the stars. Also, Reptile made me slightly question my heteroness. Welcome to the gay club. We have room. We have cookies. Okay. Got a sip of water. So the last one is Tekken 8. Here's the thing. Tekken 8 is very hard to rank because we have absolutely not seen it yet. And I did apply to get in the closed beta in October. I do not know if I will be in it. I will find out on the 18th. And if I'm in it, I will absolutely share my thoughts. But so far, it looks very promising. Graphics, wild. So crazy. The movesets are like 100 plus a character. Launching with 32 characters, by the way, is bold, considering Street Fighter 6 launched with 18 and MK had 23. Bold. Boulder, Colorado, mama. Like, it was crazy. But, yeah, like, we had so many things going for this game. And I find it very hard to believe that this game could flop. I don't think it's going to be industry standard because I think it needs room to grow. So time will tell, but I think I'll put it in serving out the gate. Like, it already seems unbelievably promising. And the same was true with Mortal Kombat 1. Like, both of these were unbelievably promising and have amazing rosters. And I think they're going to be pretty easy for casuals to get into while having competitive sides. But yeah, so I think that is the entire tier list. So here we are. I don't know how different all of this will look to any of you guys who have been playing along. I don't know where everybody's opinions necessarily lie on this one. I feel like it could be very polarizing. Especially some of my picks, like putting Tekken 6 as high up as I did. Or like Street Fighter 3 being like a mid-game. I think there's something we can all agree on, like Mythology's deserving to burn, or like MK versus DC being high levels of camp. But like, you know, I think these top 7, why don't we order them? From like best to worst. Okay. What are we thinking? So, I would say, personally, the best of these Well, let me do the worst. I think the worst of these would be MK Trilogy, because it took a lot of tries to get the right pixelated game. We had 3 before, and they all were basically the same and had assets stolen from them. So I think it can go at the bottom. I would say Street Fighter 6 is better than Street Fighter 2. Tekken 3, I think, is 6th. I like it. It's pretty solid, especially for the time. Like, no one was really doing 3D games like this. So, for its time, a trendsetter, and it still holds up. I would put Mortal Kombat 10 above MK9, and I would put Tekken 7 above all of these. But I would put Street Fighter 2 under MKX. And I'm debating between Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 6, which is better. Oh, this is hard. Because I think it's going to come down to, like, environment. Because I think the environment of Tekken 7, I'm just saying, the Season 2 OST select screen music in Tekken 7 could literally make me have Tekken 7 win this entire tier list. I'm being so for real. Like, I think the atmosphere of Tekken is better. I like the game atmosphere better, but I like the fans of Street Fighter better. I don't know, this is hard. I feel like it was more exciting watching Tekken kind of unfold in real time, though. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Tekken 7. I think Tekken 7 truly was a return to form for the game. And Street Fighter 6 also came off of a rocky start with Street Fighter 5. But I think Tekken 7, it feels correct. I have so much fun with that game. And the level ups always felt rewarding. Same Street Fighter, though. And there's really something for everyone in here. I think Street Fighter 6 has a little bit of a ways to go, and I think it would overtake Tekken 7 in time. But I would honestly say Tekken 7 is the standard. Like, for a long time, it was MK9, but I think in more recent times, if you're going to make a fighting game, this is your basis. This is what you want. I think it's like these 3 are like the ones you want to aspire to. And if you're going pixel, Street Fighter 2 is obviously what you want to aspire to. Yeah, I think that's fair, you know? I think this is fair. This is where I'm gonna go. I think this is it. I'll post this on my community tab. I'll probably post it on my Twitter as well, just so people can, you know, like, see how we got here and be like, oh, why do you want Deadly Alliance to burn? I mean, it should be obvious, but, you know, like, why do you want Deadly Alliance to burn? They could come find out. Here, let me switch back here. Hello, hi, welcome to the bulletin board. But yeah, I mean, this was fun. I like streaming. It's been a minute. For those of you who don't know, I was in Florida for a little while. I left last Saturday, and I just came back yesterday. So, you know, I gave myself a day, chilled out after, you know, flying through a tropical cyclone. Oopsies. But yeah, so I'm back now. I have my MKX stream on, oh my god, which day is it? I believe it's on Wednesday. And then I have a Skullgirls video coming out. It's going to be my big one. I am debating on delaying it. The reason I say that is because the problem with the game that I'm reviewing is a bunch of new information came out about a game I was comparing it to. I won't say which one, but if you know Skullgirls and you know the Z engine, you probably know what it is. But some info came out about that, so I have to go back and revise it. Half of the audio also does have a lot of noise problems because I recorded it while I was in Florida. So I'm thinking that I'm just going to re-record that and then finish editing it. I got pretty far in the editing process, like, before the part that I have to redo. So maybe it won't be that long. But yeah, and then I have a couple other videos planned. Some are MK related. And then I want to do a video on Aki from Street Fighter because I genuinely think she's one of the best characters in fighting game history. And I kind of want to explore that and kind of explain why I think she is just so good. But I want to wait and be able to play her through story mode. Like, I want to be able to experience that first. Just so we kind of have, like, a better grasp on her. Especially because she came after Fang, I believe. And Fang was, I think, pretty decently liked. But Aki, I think, is more respected in the community a little bit, and she hasn't even been playable yet. Also, I do love Aki's voice actress. She also voices Lulu in League of Legends, so that was kind of exciting. But yeah, so I'm hyped to see that. I guess I could talk about, because the next thing I was going to talk about actually is them's fighting herds related. So I guess we might as well say it. The game I will be comparing Skullgirls to in the history of Skullgirls is them's fighting herds, because them's fighting herds really proved everything wrong about like Skullgirls and what they could do. And the thing is, I like Skullgirls. It's a gorgeous game. I hate the fandom. I will say that. Skullgirls fandom is absolutely wild. But, you know, like, I really respect the game. I respect the devs for all the work they do. But the problem is, the time between characters is absolutely wild. 4 years for DLC is absolutely obscene. And, them's fighting herds. Initially, I was thinking Nidra was coming out this or next month. It turns out that Nidra is supposed to come out in January or February, because there was a lot of backlash towards Main 6 because of some problems, specifically relating to issues with the development cycle for Texas, because Texas is unbelievably broken right now, and they did not fix it. Like, I was playing, oh my god, who was it? I was playing Oleander the other day, and oh my god, Texas bodies everyone. I might have to play Texas a little more, because he bodies, like, every single person on that fucking roster. Like, it is so wild. Like, the only time I've ever seen a grappler be that broken was Zangief in Street Fighter 6, which Street Fighter 6 has its own meta problems to work out, don't get me wrong. But they're also working on a lot of quality of life stuff, which I really like. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. So I do have to re-record some stuff because of the, like, news about Nidra coming out. And I will probably have to delay that video just by a few days. It shouldn't be long. But, like, you know, it's not like y'all aren't getting content. I'm gonna be suffering while watching the MKX stuff, because, actually, okay, that's a lie, because MKX is actually one of the better stories. MKX is good in bouts, you know? Like, it's a better experience when you're not actively consuming it all at once, and I am here to suffer, not to be amused. So, you know, we will experience that as we go and just see what happens with that. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna stop the stream for today. I am rather tired. I still gotta play through some more Invasions in MK1. I've been having a lot of fun with that, honestly. Again, I know hating bitches will be over on Twitter, like, haters gonna hate, you know, about Invasion mode, saying it's, like, grindy or whatever. I have fun with it. I don't know. It's fun. Maybe I like MK too much. Maybe that's it. But yeah, so I think that's where we'll end it. So, yeah, make sure you guys catch me over on Wednesday when we go through all of the shenanigans with MKX, and I'll kind of talk through that. But yeah, I think that'll do it. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye, everybody.